Good afternoon. It's great to be in this incredible facility. Looks pretty nice. It would look great pulling up, seeing everybody in here. So, yeah, this means it's time. Season's here. Anytime we get to this group together, I know the season's right around the corner. We're a couple weeks into practice. We moved our start date back a week. Could have started the 23rd. We started the 30th, and feel like we're trying to fight that monotony of just seeing each other every day, keep improving, keep getting better. But it's been an exciting few weeks of practice. I'm excited about this group. I've said it at Big Ten Media Day that this group I have tremendous interest in and excitement for. I think our ceiling can be very high, and yet I think we have a long way to go and a lot of room for improvement. This group is working extremely hard. We are in a position where we need to see somebody else. We need to put 5 guys out there instead of 10 every single day, and start identifying roles and how that all looks. We have not had great separation. That can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. Maybe our depth's better, but we have not seen great separation at this point in anybody. It's been all pretty consistent, constant, and I think that's exciting to see as we move forward with some of our scrimmages and our exhibition at Ole Miss as to how that works out. But we're still awaiting final say on Tommy's situation. Tommy's, we keep getting a question here, a question there, more in terms of his amateurism stuff. So that's the university, our people, along with the NCAA. They'll make those decisions when they've got all the information they need. So he will not be a participant in Sunday's scrimmage, but that's fine. Just main thing is getting all those questions answered. So. We will open it up, and here we go.
It seems like you have a few natural scorers and shooters on this team. What have you seen on the other side that defensively is
not natural defenders? A lot of guys who've scored a lot of points. We've spent about 75% of our time on the defensive side. Offense, we spent a ton of time. Doug, we spent it almost all this summer on spacing, on creating opportunities offensively. I feel like we're in a pretty good place there. Defensively, still developing that chemistry. You guys know that that's an area that I want to spend and continue to grow on. Our potential is tremendous. I think we've seen Draven, Kylan, Trey White, Ty Rogers all prove that they can really sit down and guard multiple positions in terms of guarding the ball. Working in ball screen defense and some of our fundamental things we've got to continue to work and get better at. But it's not for lack of work. It's just getting everybody on the same page. And again, some of those role identification things will help. But a lot of film work with this group. That's helping. The effort, I don't doubt a bit, but we've got to continue to grow there.
The NBA seems to think highly as far as coming into this season here. You've had a one and done with Michael Beasley, I don't think this program ever has. What makes a freshman ready to be the guy of the team as far as showing?
Yeah, he's good. He's a good player. I think that there's a lot that goes into that. Mike was special. I'll probably never coach anybody as physically gifted as Mike was. But the one thing KJ has, he's got a great physical presence to him at 6'5", 6'6". He's 205. He looks the part. But I think that, when you talk with him, he's played no other sport in his life. He started basketball when he was 3. His upbringing in the game is well beyond his years. His coaching to this point has been exceptional. He's very, very high IQ. He sees things ahead. He's immersed in film. And, I think that his passion, his happy place is truly on the court practicing and working. And you put all those things together and you get a guy that's, a really good player. And, we'll see. He hasn't made a layup yet. And, all that stuff is really good, but he hasn't worn the orange and blue and made a layup for us or a jump shot and you'll find out when, he's a great teammate. So he does what the game gives him. He doesn't try to do stuff he can't do, and there's a real maturity about that.
Trying to fight through the monotony of practice. Have you seen that creeping in a little bit?
Just like every other year. Yeah, we get redundant. I think that we do the same drills over and over because we have to lay our base. We have to know what our foundation is. We can't make mistakes in those. So it's 2 days ago. We had kind of as flat a day as we've had, and that's where I earn my money, is to get those guys going in those days. And we have an everyday, the saying, everyday guys. We've got to show up and do our job every day, and it's a lot of new faces. They're getting used to that, and yet today was great. So it's just there's going to be a flat day here and there, and again, that's when I know we're at the point where we need to see a different colored jersey.
You have a really tough non-conference schedule this year. How do those kind of games test the team with a lot of new players?
They'll definitely be tests, and we start with what we do here in our scrimmages and our exhibition. Both of those teams are very old. Butler may be one of the older teams in the country. Then you go right into your schedule, and so I think that kids today want to play in those games. I think they want to be a part of them. I think for us, they're great measuring sticks. The old cliche to beat the best, you've got to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And we're going to challenge that. And every top team in the SEC, we seem to have on our schedule. We've got a lot of pros. We've got a lot of athletes. We'll face size, all leading up to 20 conference games in a league that I haven't found a team that's weak. They're all going to be tough, and I think we'll continue to grow. I think this team has, when I say we have a great upside, a high ceiling, is I think we can make jumps every month. You'll see a better team in November than you saw in October, and vice versa, and we'll just keep growing that way. So, it'll be fun to see where we're at against some of those teams, and if we get dinged, we get dinged. We learn from it and get ready for the next one, but they come fast and furious, and in late November and early December, and with 2 conference games in there against Northwestern and Wisconsin. This group's going to have to mature really quick.
Is there any indication that you've received as far as Thomas Love getting the word before the season opener?
I have no idea. We have no idea. We're literally at their beck and call. When they ask a question, it's the beauty of email. Things can get answered and moved around pretty quick. But at the rate we understand that their office works with every other school in the country in these situations, so sometimes that they can sit for a little bit, but our people here do a fantastic job of staying on them and moving that, and we're literally at their beck and call.
Went through
High Rogers, he's one of the older guys on the team.
how has he picked up that role as far as being a veteran on the team?
Outstanding. And I think anybody who knows Ty Rodgers knows that might be one of the more popular players to ever play here in terms of teammates, what he does in the community, what he does with other athletes on campus. That permeates through our locker room. And now you're seeing a guy with his head up, his chest out. He's a junior. He knows that experience. He knows me. He's able to educate these guys on what a practice is going to be every day and what it's going to be like. And as we get into games, we're gonna lean on him and AJ Redd and Keaton Kuchar and Draven. All those guys who've been there. But Ty's been not afraid. He's sprinted towards the leadership role of this team.
Amir went through maybe a similar situation last year at Kentucky. Does that serve as a reference at all, just because they're twins and have a similar background?
I would think so. There's some differences in their cases, but I would think at least there's a footprint of what that looked like. So I would hope that's expediting some things.
Stretch, you could feel the chemistry last year. How have you seen or felt the chemistry gelling off the court with this team?
I don't know. I know they like each other. I know they get along. I say this until we put 5 of them out there and start identifying roles and helping mold those roles. We made changes last year prior to the Rutgers game and the way we were playing. We played one way against Marquette, and if anybody scouted that and watched, we played a completely different way against Rutgers and Florida Atlantic late in the season or in New York. So we may have to tweak some things here or there, but I love the makeup of this group and the way they act towards each other. There has been zero selfish type play. So we've worked really hard at that in the portal, trying to find those type of guys. And again, the veterans understand that, when our team wins, everybody wins.
Who do you see from Perez and Carey? You might be able to look at all the guys you have. What do you see from them with Former Stars situation kind of?
Great athleticism. They're very different as players. Perez is a guy that we have not had in our program at 6'9", 255. Elite athlete, getting in and out of screens. You can just throw it up and he can go get it just about anywhere. He's a guy that has created quite a niche for himself in terms of rebounding the basketball, what he does defensively. That's continued here. Carey is a guy that athletically probably jumps as high as anybody we've got. He's a great runner and just an elite shooter. And his numbers don't show it from last year, but I think this year, the way we're going to play, we're going to see a guy that's capable of being a mid-40s% three-point shooter, and he's getting better at doing the other things along with that. So both of those guys give us length and athleticism, which will be nice to have.
Essentially went 8 deep last year, then Draven got some minutes here and there. Will players determine how deep you go, or do you have an overriding
Players
philosophy, or?
No, players always decide who plays and how deep we go. And let's not forget now, we're trying to win games, and so we at this level, when you're playing really good teams, having your best players on the floor a lot helps you win those games. And having great chemistry, you guys all know that I talk a lot about our bench and finding guys to fill a slot as a scorer, as a defender, so we don't have drop-off. I think we can have that. And if we have that, guys will play. If guys don't, they won't play. Dre went through a tough January last year where he just struggled in practice. But at the end of the year was a guy that I was really starting to get a lot of trust in, both defensively and the fact that he scores the ball so easily. So guys will determine that. We'll start seeing that this weekend. Again, guys that eliminate mistakes, guys that continue to learn, guys that it's a long season. We had 107 practices last year. You're going to have some ups and downs, and how you manage those individually as a player determines sometimes who plays and who doesn't. And we don't want to put somebody out there who's not playing well. So I do think we have depth, but the maturation, the chemistry, all of that will take care of itself.
I think you'll remind yourself that month to month it's going to get better, and like obviously you want to win games, but like how do you kind of keep that big picture in the back of your brain?
Yeah, I'm probably not very good at that. I think every team takes on its own identity, and it's my job to adjust to that. And I think that I don't want to lose sight that this team is young. I don't want to lose sight that this team is really talented and needs to be pushed and challenged. But again, it's all that goes into every season. Last year was different than this year and the year before, and the emphasis is different in terms of some things we're doing offensively, defensively. So we'll stay patient, and we'll stay with the mindset of being very understanding of who we've got, and try to push all the buttons to keep this group getting better.
Coach, you have one of the on NBA mock drafts. Just how do you think they've handled kind of this outside national media attention?
Well, if they're worrying about it, it's the wrong thing to be worrying about. We've had 20 plus teams in here already. I think it's an everyday common thing that kids grow up with today that are good players. They're just that mock drafts. You find one show me one. It's like recruiting services. Show me one that gets it right, and I'll show you the first time. They don't mean that much. We've got to go out and prove it. We got to go out and play. I don't think this group is wired that way. I think they're all in here to try to win a national championship for the University of Illinois.
Defensively, do you sense that's just a matter of time? How well have they bought into it? Whether or not
Yeah, they bought into it. I think it's just a matter of not making mistakes. The biggest thing we talk about is communication. That's a very hard thing to do, especially for young people. And just you got to become a great listener. If you're a guard, you have to listen. You can't turn your head to see where a screen's coming from. You've got to hear it, honor the call, and handle it, and then know that it's coming every possession of every game. That's harder than it sounds. And this group is working at it. I think we have the ability to be elite. We have to do a great job of contesting shots. We have to do a great job of limiting opponents to one shot. We should be a good rebounding team. But it's nice to have size and length. But we got to make teams shoot over us and not under us, around us, and give up straight line drives and protect the rim better.
Is it safe to say that we need another jump for him, just like we do with the NIA and Evansville? This is another huge jump for him.
Ben's intriguing because he's going to be a great story this year. He is an elite shooter at 6'9", 6'10". What we have done is really try to push him on the defensive side. We've tried to push him on the rebounding side. We've tried to play him some multiple positions. Is he Marcus in terms of that style of play? No. But Marcus doesn't shoot the basketball like Ben does either. So I think he's a guy that, yes, he can handle it. He can do some things. We can do some booty ball type things with him. But as a catch and shoot guy, he is tremendous on the move. He's a great spacer. Maybe as good a shooter as we've had in this program.
It sounded like KJ hit the ground running when he got here this summer in terms of his performance. How have you judged his overall comfort? Was it something that came naturally for him going to a different country, new situation, or is it different now than maybe it was back then?
I think when you're really good, you make a transition pretty easy. I think that the one thing that we had to do with him was manage his usage. Young man's played a lot of basketball this spring and a lot this summer. He kind of fought through some. He's still growing. We can't forget he just turned 18. So he's had some tendonitis in his knee. So we held him out literally the first 2.5 weeks, just to kind of let his body heal. Mentally, he's handled it. He loves to watch film. There's a maturity about him from that standpoint. He's been away from home. Being in Barcelona for 3 years, that part's wiped out. That's just different today with those kids. So he's handled it. He's a great teammate. He wants to win. There's days that he gets a lot of shots. There's days he's got a lot of assists. So again, he's handled it pretty well.
Multi-positional type guy. Is he starting to carve out a niche or a role?
Absolutely. Trey, maybe from day one in June, has maybe been as consistent a player as we've had. He is every day you look up and he's got the same line, and it's all a lot of positives at a very efficient rate. You see how he averaged 14, 15 a game, whatever, 13 a game at Louisville. You see why he was a double-digit scorer at USC. I love his IQ and feel. His versatility allows him to play in a lot of different ways. He's a much better shooter than I thought. And yeah, his importance on this team is going to be very, very high, and we're counting on him. He's again a guy that's got 60+ college games under his belt. We need all that experience.
About Dre, and you mentioned his January struggles and kind of earning your trust late in the season. What did you learn about him last season, and how has he maybe carried that throughout the offseason?
Oh, Dre's unbelievable how competitive he is. He's an incredible. He's a sponge. He wants information. He wants to continue to learn. He's never doubted the process. Most kids get frustrated with the process when it doesn't go the way they want it to go. Dre's never been that. He understands that, some of the hard things are going to make him better. And it was a tough few weeks for him, but my confidence in him allowed me to play him late because he just kept working. He never quit. There was no hanging your head. It was every single day, do what you do. He did what he did to help our team win in that moment, and a lot of respect for Dre and the way he handled that moment. It was a tremendous maturity.
You had a unique situation with Merez where it was like you had several years. It was like the idea of Merez was great, but what's it been like to go to having Merez?
He's a senior, right? Yeah, it seems like that since he's been around. I tell the story all the time. When we had the court storming, I look over one shoulder and there's Josh, and I look over the other shoulder and there's Merez. That's 3 years ago. So he's been around. He's been in our locker room a lot. He acts like a veteran because of that. I think that's pretty cool. He's seen a lot of practices, and his desire to want to wear the orange and blue shows out every single day. There's no question. He is very proud to be an Illini basketball player, and we're going to get a young man that's plays extremely hard. He's got that Chicago grit, that Chicago toughness and fight, and I'm excited to see him in uniform. He's glad he's on our side.
Talking about guys sticking in the process. Seems like Jason and Jake both came here with that idea of a process of doing. So how have you seen them kind of just adjust here and really showing?
Yeah, like today, both those guys were great in practice today, and Jason maybe become the waffle eating champion of our team via Adam Fletcher and the weight gain process that Fletch does in terms of helping him. You know, Fletch just says more syrup, and Jason just keeps eating. But that's all part of his process. He's going to be a terrific player down the road. He does a lot of really good things now. You know, Jake is a guy that I believe in. I believe in him. He is a really, really good shooter. You can see his ability to understand winning, which he did in high school, and how that played out. He is very high IQ. He is picks things up very quickly, and again, you know, right there with Ben as a shooter, you know, he gets it off really quick. He's figured out how to play, but his commitment has led him to a 25-pound weight loss. Wish we could have given that to Jason, but it's just a dedication, and so I'm excited for both those young men and what they've got in store for them.
The competition of the team last year, the competitiveness, is it similar this year? Is a lot of that competition more playing time this year?
Yes. Last year became 2/3 of the way through, became pretty much we had our roles locked in, and it was a defined scout team. It was very competitive because our freshmen were on that team and trying to make a name for themselves and get better. This year it's more literally about playing time, and you don't play well, guess what? That's your problem. You got somebody else there ready to step in and take that role. So it's different that way, but it's good either way you've got it. And you know, that's the one thing that we look for in recruiting. Number one quality is competitiveness and kids who aren't afraid of work. And this group is all of that.
What do you want to learn on Sunday in the scrimmage and later this month in the exhibition? And what will your approach be going into those opportunities?
Yeah, I need to see what we're not good at. I need to see us. I need to see the first speed bump. What is it? You get to a point where, you know, I am right now standing here today. You know, our offense was good, so does that mean our defense is bad? Is our defense that bad, or our offense just good? Is it, you know, lack of communication? Is it are we not going to rebound? Are we not going to offensive rebound? You know, just we're going to turn it over too much. We're playing an old team for a reason, because they're physically grown up, and you know, they're extremely well coached, and I just need to see what the reaction is to seeing a different colored jersey. So there's a lot I want to learn. There's a reason we moved it up a week compared to what we've done in the past, and then we've got 2 weeks to quite simply go to work and get some things fixed, and then we'll actually have a true road environment game. We won't spend any time this week on preparation for them. We'll go in blind and not treat it at all with any scouting purpose, but we'll just go in and do what we do. It'll be different than a game. There'll be a lot of segments, similar to what we did with Kansas a few years ago, and Dad's agreed to that. So we're a lot to learn and a lot of teaching moments, and that's the beauty of these things.
TV info that came out, I guess yesterday. I mean, you got 4 CBS games, 4 Fox games, except for Thanksgiving, they're all weekends. Is there some kind of tangible impact of that you feel?
It's huge. It's how we build our program. Good players, playing in big games, in environments that we can bring attention to us, help us grow. Whether it's playing in the Garden in the Jimmy V, whether it's playing on CBS, whether it's we've never shied away from those moments. We didn't have any of those. I think our first CBS home game since 2011. That's a great thing, to be able to play Duke in Madison Square Garden in a game in February. It's huge. It's something different. It's something new. That's exciting that TV wants us. CBS on on Thanksgiving Day, my goodness, that speaks volumes. That'll be one of the most watched games of the year. We have never shied away from those games, and I would much rather play in those than I would a bye game, and get a win. That, to me, those don't grow your program. To me, this has been a big part of helping us continue to grow our program.
Your program has gone the way of creating a general manager position for personnel. Is that something that may come down the line sooner or
Yes,
later for everybody?
I hope so. It's as I think as we move into the new world and we find out what that is and what's governance looks like and what the rules are and transparency, and you can go on down the path. I do think there's a tremendous model out there that has to be looked at in terms of the analytics of slotting players and how much they make and where does true NIL fall into all of that, and it is complicated. It truly is. It affects recruiting, on a lot of fronts, and we've gone to roster spots instead of scholarships. We just dropped the national letter of intent. I think there's a lot of things out there that are changing and new, and I think that's one of the things that will be very, very important to keep lines of communication, transparency among players in your program, all of those things, and everything that's entailed in that. In the pro sports, they have contracts, they have guys locked up for multiple years, they know their roster spots. You're in and you're out. We don't know our roster. And it can go as late now as the end of May when you've got guys that are going through the combine. So there's a lot of challenges there, and you've got to have people very savvy with handling that in terms of salary spots.
How are you preparing for revenue sharing 6 months, 7 months from now?
It's hard to prepare for it when you don't know the rules you're playing by. And I think that's the biggest challenge, Jeremy, is what this all looks like. We understand it's coming, but we don't even know how much yet and what that looks like. So we're erring on the side of being cautious and protective of what we are. We're selling our style of play, this incredible facility, a sold-out crowd every night before our schedule comes out, season tickets for students being sold out in 26 minutes. We're selling all of the right things, and until the other things fall into place. And I think that's the challenge we're in right now is, and we've got a different team than we had last year. Last year we were old, and we knew they were all gone. So we knew we had to go get guys. This year I've got a team that could maybe all come back. And so where do you get into the salary cap of that? Where do you get into I need a shooting big, I need a point guard, and what does that dollar value look like compared to what you have? So it just gets to be really complicated. And like I said, we're waiting for the final things to come down the pike, and we'll see how that all plays out.
Analytics of last year to take how you built this roster this year, and I asked that because I know you weren't happy with where you were defensively from an analytics standpoint last year, but you were also number 3 in the country offense. So how did you balance that?
Yeah, and we were truly number 1 going into the UConn game, and as I tell every recruit, we were number 1 until Donovan Clingan, who's still blocking our shots, impacted that game. But I think we've seen a kind of a change in times. I used to tell everybody you had to be a top 15 defense to get to the Final Four. Now, if you're not a top 15 offense, you're not getting there. The way the game's been officiated has changed it a great deal. Terrence shot 286 free throws last year. A lot of those were, block charge calls that could have gone either way. I think we're seeing offense become more like the NBA. We were very, very passionate about the recruiting process of recruiting size and positional size that can shoot. And being able to have multiple guys out there. We'd like to shoot more threes than we shot last year. We'd like to we're going to keep the paint open. That made things tougher, for true post-up guys. It was a good recipe for us. All the meanwhile, we have to guard. Terrence was elite. Terrence was an elite on-ball defender. We probably didn't have another one like that. And we have to have multiple guys that can do that. Put Terrence on the ball, then we struggled at the wing. We weren't great at the rim. So I hope all of those things are better because we have positional size. I think we have a little more depth, I hope, which will help that as well.
Thomas Love, do you anticipate having everybody else available this weekend?
Yes. Short of anybody getting dinged up tomorrow.
Will, good or bad, I don't know if surprise is the right word, or catch you off guard since he's been here that you've learned about him?
With who?
With Will.
Will? No, Will's been great. You guys just haven't talked about him, so I didn't. Will's been really good. And, I think that one of the things I'm interested in with Will is we've played him both on and off the ball and finding out where he's most comfortable. He's a tremendous playmaker, so we want to have some comfort with him off the ball. But he's also a guy that very, very effective catching and shooting, very, very effective attacking closeouts. He's a tremendous lob passer. So when we play him in ball screens, he's very effective. He can use right hand, left hand. I think us getting dialed into where he's the most comfortable and with what lineups. There's been a lot of days haven't put he and KJ together. We've put them opposite each other and let them compete. And reality is they may play together a lot. We'll, like I said, it's time to put 5 out there and start looking at different combinations and matchups.
How important is the experience that Kylan brings in from Arizona? How's that shown itself already in practice with some of the other guys?
Yeah, Kylan's the one thing Kylan has done, especially here in the last 10 days, is become extremely vocal. And there's tremendous value in that because of the experience he has. Played in a great program, played in a program that had a lot of success. He's come in here and literally changed his body. He's gotten very, very athletic again, very strong. I've been really impressed with his speed. I don't remember seeing him that fast and explosive on the circuit. And he's just an unbelievable shooter. I think he's got an opportunity to be as good a two-way player as there is in the Big Ten, which will mean nationally he's that. Nobody wants him guarding them in practice because he's physical, he's strong. But that experience is huge, and it's continuing to grow as you see him get comfortable in everything we're doing. So I would expect that to nurture itself here in the next few months.
Talked a lot about roster uncertainty, but there's multiple coaches and new roles that they weren't in last year with the program. So how do you guys? Forgot the question.
I'll tell you this. I feel extremely comfortable with our staff. We lost Tim's departure. Tim brought a great deal to our program. We do nothing but thank him for his time. We're moving a young man up in Quay who has been here. He knows the way we do things. He's been on the was really close with Io in his role as a GA in terms of working out guys. He went to the Sacramento Kings. He was a workout guy there. He's very knowledgeable. He is you pair him with Tyler, Zach, Jeff, and O, and I'll challenge you to find a better coaching staff as assistant coaches. And you all know that I let coaches coach. I need them to be active in practice and not just figureheads. And so this staff is tremendous at what they do. Tyler's running the offense. Zach's kind of overseeing the defense on day-to-day stuff, and then we're branching out as we get into games with the assistant coaches, and it's been a really good formula for us since COVID, and we went to that style, and something I believe in, and you know, if we've got if we need to make a change in the spring in terms of adding somebody, we'll do that. But we'll look at that at that time, and right now I feel pretty good about it.
This will be our last one here.
O specializes with bigs. Do you have other coaches that are specifically to positions? And if so, who?
O's handles all of our bigs. Jeff's handling almost all of our point guards, and it's broke up. Tyler and Jeff are working with the guards a lot. Quay, Zach are handling the wings. So it's really nice. The one thing about the morning practices, most of these guys are getting back in here in the afternoons and getting time with those coaches. It's helped us become more efficient in practice, and yet we're still getting the work in that we need individually. Thank you.